Admiralty building in St. Petersburg, Russia. So we'll have some unwrapping sounds, unpackaging, some model building, and a little bit of history of St. Petersburg, the cultural capital of Russia. So we have some very nicely decorated pieces for this beautiful neoclassical architecture. Some gold foil for the spire. Let's have a look at the pieces. You can hear a little bit of noise from outside too, but we're not going to worry about that because we're safe here in the study. This will be the first building that we'll build to model the city of St. Petersburg. So it'll be a little series. So there's our gold foil, a nice, pretty, shiny gold foil for the spire and the clock. Here we have some foam pieces for the base. Let's set this all out so we can see them. And this is the card. Very pretty, detailed card pieces. You can see the architectural implements and features have been crenulated, so there's a relief pattern. And there's some statues and an arch and a bas-relief here. The gold spire and the columns with statues. And there are the insides with the staircases. And the roof, the tiles. And there's what it's going to look like when we put it all together. So there are our pieces. And here are the directions. And we also have a little toothpick this is the first building that we're going to make in our little series of building St. Petersburg's monuments. So to cut out our cardboard, let's use a cutty mat. Going to use this one. It's what is called a self-healing cutting mat, and I'm going to use this craft knife. It's got a soft grip and it's very sharp, and if you cut the mat with it while you're crafting, the mat will go back into shape. There's the cap that goes on the craft knife. We start with the foam base. St. Petersburg was known as Petrograd during the Soviet Union between 1914 and 1924. And after 1924, as Leningrad, until the Soviet Union dissolved in 1991. It's located on the Neva River, which is at the end or the head of the Gulf of Finland on the Baltic Sea, which is also where Tove Jansson had her adventures, inspiring her art and her Moomin trolls, except on the Finnish shore. St. Petersburg was founded by the Tsar Peter the Great in 1703 on a site of a captured Swedish fortress, and he named the city his window to the west, after his namesake, the Apostle St. Peter. This window to the west, this seaport that Peter established, formed what is accepted as the birth of the Russian Empire, and Russia making its appearance and entrance into modern Europe and the modern West. And since then it has served as one of Europe's great powers, influencing economy, diplomacy, and commerce. And for many years it was the capital of Tsarist Russia. It was replaced by Moscow after the October Revolution in 1917, when the Bolsheviks moved the capital to Moscow. There's the base. Now we is 1, 2, 3, and 4. Can you see them? There's 3. Let's see how easily that comes out. I don't think I will need the craft knife for that. Do you see the other pieces? There's number 4. 2. Still doesn't want to come out. Oh, there it goes. It's very, very tight. Almost afraid to slip with the knife. I don't want blood all over our model. That would be a really bad thing to happen during filming. So we have piece 1, 2, 3, 4. This one bends. I'm going to bend it. And there's the inside. So you can see what the ceiling looks like with the beautiful cornices there. Little neoclassical baroque. This one as well. The inside doors are white and dark wood. The ceiling there. I'm going to bend that. The Admiralty is one of the more well-known buildings that form the UNESCO World Heritage Site, the historic center of St Petersburg, and all of its monuments. It is home to the Winter Palace, the Hermitage, which houses one of the largest art collections in the world. Make sure I'm in the right direction here. We'll put up the initial walls. Quite certain about that. This will go inside. So I've got the small archway there. One of the first buildings that Peter erected when he captured the Swedish fortress on the Neva during the Great Northern War its own style. It's a form of Baroque. Because when Peter moved the capital, he moved it in 1712. And the city developed along what is Trinity Square. That's on the right bank of the Neva, near the new fortress. And the Swiss-Italian architect Domenico de Trezzini started a project to build the city center around Vasilyevsky Island. His plan included canals and a grand city, but it went uncompleted, even though the layout of the streets today shows what it would have become. But in 1716, Peter appointed the French Jean-Baptiste Alexandre Leblanc as the chief architect of St. Petersburg. Now we're on step 2. We need pieces 5, 6, L, R, and 7. There we can see 7 is the roof. You can hear the shingles. Those came out easily enough. Do we need 6 left and right, the ones with the staircases inside? And we need number 5. Do you see number 5? It's part of the roof. Not only the roof, I'm realizing, but the entire outer wall of the lower building. The style that Trezzini had envisioned and developed, and later architects followed along, was called the Petrine Baroque, after the Tsar Peter. And it dominates the style of the buildings in St. Petersburg. Became the most prominent style of St. Petersburg in the 18th century, and the capital began to flourish by 1724. Peter established 12 collegia, Peter and Paul Cathedral, Menshikov Palace, the Kunstkamera or Art Chamber, the Academy of Sciences and a university, as well as an academic gymnasium. Peter was very ambitious and hoped designated St. Petersburg as the capital of the Russian Empire, and it remained from then after until the 1917 revolution, the seat of the Romanov dynasty and the imperial court of the Russian Tsars. Despite Terzini's canals and rectangular layout, radial streets developed which meet at the Admiralty building that we're putting together now. And these radial streets are known as the Nevsky Prospect, which is also considered to be the main street of the city, consisting of Koroshevaya Street and Vonetsky Avenue. Oh, I think I've ripped that one. The little piece stuck in there. There we are. Baroque architecture, as you will see, flourished. So after the palace's Petrine Baroque, we also had Elizabethan Baroque, and many notable architects, including the Italian Bartolomeo Rastorelli, who designed the Winter Palace. Following, of course, was the neoclassical style. So there's a very beautiful mix of arches and embellishments in the building of St. Petersburg. I've almost got all the pieces out of this main building. The Admiralty, forming the center, Nevsky Prospect, Nevsky, is in the Empire style, and you can visit it today, where it lines Admiralty Quay. And was in Zakharov's original design, built between 1806 and 1823. Now at the west end of the Nevsky Prospect. It's one of the city's greatest and most visible landmarks. And until 1998, housed the Soviet and Russian naval engineering schools. There we have our building, our Admiralty building, beautiful neoclassical classical empire design. If we can push the pieces into the foam, I can still see the archway, the entrance. There. And you can even hear the bricks and see inside what's going on inside. See if I can show you a little bit there. Now comes the outer pieces. There's nothing to push out here, and the windows are done in relief, so you can hear. So I think Peter would have been very pleased with this Admiralty building, because the Navy was very important to him, to Peter, to have a Russian Navy. In fact, as a young man, he studied shipbuilding in Amsterdam, famously living as a commoner incognito. It's a very good biography of Peter, written by Robert Massey, who also wrote the biography on Louis XIV, and consequently found a few commonalities between these two great men and their lives. Namely, that they had survived coup attempts as children. They had been forced to flee the palace as children, and that they were made monarchs at a very young age. I'm having trouble getting that in there. There's a nice cardboard sound. Okay. It's going to be very difficult. There we are. I'm going to stick a blade in there. There we are. So that's part of the building connected to the rest. You can see inside the archway. Let's put the other roof on. Hope it's not as difficult as the last one, but I'm afraid it might be. I don't have any leverage there. So I'm going to use the craft knife. quite a lot. Let's see if we can find them all. 13. 10. Don't know if you can hear the birds outside. There's some birdie business going on. 11. Those are the plinths. You can see the bricks have relief on them. There's a lot of chattering going on outside, but that's not going to bother us because we're in the study watching the world go by. Now we have to find the other statues. 12. These are statues of neoclassical figures with globes. It shows the importance of the sea. So this is the back of the building, and this will be the front where the statues will go. So we'll build the plinths first. And now I think I should have kept the paper for 8 left and 8 right. No, it's these ones. I think that should be pretty self-explanatory there. And 8 is going to go in front of 9, which I find a little odd. So it's 3 figures holding a globe. And they're going to go in this little plinth. And these are the ones I have to get correct, I think. So let's look at the backs. The plinths will go there, like that. And these are the backs of the statues of the figures holding the globes. So 2 identical ones for the front, and what looks like we need on that side, but if we put it there, we can see some white. But the globes are aligned. I don't think that looks quite right. Let's try it back to back. I would be tempted to put it this direction. 9 in front of 8, because otherwise you see some white left here and right here. So at least we know which side they're supposed to go, but it's a very odd arrangement, I think. And these are both the same. So it's supposed to give it a three-dimensional effect there. You can see the tiny figures holding the globe. So that goes in there. And this one going on the left side. I'm still not convinced. I'm going to turn 9 around. Looks better that way. Yeah. Yep. There, what do you think? Yeah, much better. And it looks like another little piece that hasn't been pushed out entirely. Better put a cap on that. And turn this statue around. Now we can put our globe bearers for the entrance on the right and on the left. And the plinth, the dark stone plinth that goes underneath them. Which way do you think it should go? So we can see those. That way or that way. I think we'll put the bigger stones on the bottom. Just like that. There's the entrance. Now we have the 4 statues for the top. And these are all different, as you can see. So I'd better get them correct. Which means I shouldn't have poked them out so excitedly. That's not 13, I think. This one is 13. No. This one maybe. That's 13. And it looks like Minerva with a helmet and shield. So that one goes on this corner. So the patron of learning, of wisdom, of diplomacy. We have 2 identical statues for 12, which will be these. One here, and one here will face him towards the outside, and this one section to hold it up. We need 16. Oh, there's 16. So we have 3 pieces now. 14, 15, and 16. And a few bits to punch out. Make sure we get them all, or we'll make another baby's rattle. There we go. What's going inside is the stone floor for this high-ceilinged tower that forms the base of the spire. And the outer. This is going to be very intricate architecturally because we've got some very pretty pieces coming up. There's our tower base. Next, we have pieces 20. These are the pillars, the portico with more statues atop, reminiscent of an ancient temple, but also very much part of the neoclassical style. For obvious reasons. That's the end of that piece. We also need, I think this is piece 18. Oh, we're getting to the gold foil. We need the gold foil and 19. I've got 21 there. And 19. Almost lost it. And that will hold up the gold spire. This is probably not needed. I'll set it aside. Time to punch out the portico. That piece flew. Bing. There we go. There's our portico with the statues. And the next one lets you get a beautiful 3D effect with this nice card model. Alright, let's attempt the spire. I think we should put the clock in first. And this comes out easily as well, so I don't have to worry about the craft knife yet. Spire. I'm going to try not to touch the gold if possible, so I don't get fingerprints on it. So I'm going to use the paper to contour it and bend the pieces without getting too many fingerprints. Okay. This tab is going to go in there. Do you hear that card? There we are. And now the clock. Put that over there. Let's make sure I'm doing the right thing. Squeaky, squeak, squeak. Pulling it down the bottom of the windows. And put it in there. The spire and the clock. Now this has to be coordinated so everyone go at once. Well done. There's a golden spire for the Admiralty. This one will come on top. There's our base. Isn't that beautiful? It was Vladimir Nabokov from St Petersburg, the famous author, wrote a short story in 1933 entitled The Admiralty Spire. So it was a very famous and inspirational landmark. Let's finish it off now. The spire. The golden ship. Look at that ship. You can see the ship with its sails. A nod to Peter the Great and his ambitions for Russia. There's our toothpick. And the last bit of roofing. I think there's one more piece. last pieces. The red shingle roof. And in the front, and on the back, this one going up and over for the roof. Over the portico. Get the statues going through it. There. And I will use the toothpick to push it down. There we go. So, the roof. With the statues and the portico. And the gold spire. Let's put the ship on it. See, we don't seem to need the toothpick. It's standing up very nicely on its own. And there we have the beautiful Admiralty Spire, center of St Petersburg's architectural UNESCO World Heritage Site. In the Imperial or Neoclassical style. The first building in our series on building St. Petersburg. This one might need some glue rather than a toothpick. Thank you for spending time with me in this study. It's lovely to build things and have some peace and quiet with you. So remember, whenever you need a break, no matter what's going on out there, you're always welcome in the study. Be good to yourself. Be kind to others. And be extraordinary.